There was a rare win, sorry, I sound like Mr Bowen saying nuclear. Rare win for common sense coming from the organisers of the NXXT, it's a mouthful, but NXXT Women's Pro Golf Tour, who've ruled that only biological women at birth can compete in the event. Kind of stands to reason, really. It is a women's golf tour. However, transgender golfer Hailey Davidson, who recently won the NXXT Women's Classic and is #1 on the leaderboard for birdies in the competition at the moment, not happy with the decision, taking to social media saying, "I have been removed," in brackets, banned, from the next 3 NXXT tournaments that I already signed up for and have been approved to play. They changed their policy mid-season after me signing up already and being the second in the Player of the Year race. Now, it may have been lost on Hailey, but perhaps this is the reason they have made the decision, because they've gone, hang on a minute, we've got a transgender golfer that has come into the competition and is doing exceedingly well. Perhaps it doesn't look entirely fair.
If only every sporting code did this. I mean, it's that simple to just go, oh, if you're born a biological male, you don't get to play with women. And what women need to start doing.
Actually, that's not entirely true.
How is that?
Nothing, I'll just leave that there.
Continue.
Oh, Joe. Always, whatever. What a bunny trail. Okay, back on track. But if women just stopped competing, once they were made aware a biological male will be competing with you, whether it's soccer, whether it's cricket, whatever it is, if women were just to go, okay, well, I withdraw, I'm not doing this. This is women's sport, I verse women, and I don't play against biological males. I believe it gives them an unfair advantage. You wouldn't even have to say that much. You'd just have to withdraw. All of this nonsense would end tomorrow because women's sport would cease to exist as soon as the women simply said, if you have a biological man competing at the same competition as me, we're out.
And it's pretty clear, Evelyn, I mean, we're talking about golf here, right? So if you look at the average length of a drive from a woman versus the average length of a drive from a man, a woman's drive is shorter than a man's drive. It's as simple as that. And, you know, I understand there might be a small handful of people who'd like to compete at the elite level, but at some point you've got to put your foot down. And a lot of sporting codes have sort of dragged their feet on this, but say, look, it's simply a matter of fairness. And particularly in Australia, fairness is a real Aussie value. I know you want as many people to participate in sport as possible, but at its base roots, it's about fairness.
Yeah, and look, I think it's actually just common sense. It's pretty simple. I think we overcomplicate things, but I think that trans sport will actually be the trans movement's undoing. And you probably ask why, but honestly, you only have to look at what happened in the UFC. A woman's skull was fractured because a biological man competed against her. And how many times is that going to happen before a lot of people step up? Like, people don't want to see women getting hurt, whether it's their daughters or their sisters or their nieces. At some point in time, pushing for it so much will be their very undoing. And so, like I said, it's just a matter of time, because I don't think men or women will sit idly by and watch that happen. Fairness aside, all of that, it's inevitable.
I think you're right about that, and the reason, Sam, I think that's the case is because through sport, most parents have some kind of interaction with their kids, with school sport or club sport or whatever it might be. And when parents have to deal with, you know, their son or their daughter playing in a team with a transgender player, and it becomes obvious that there's something of a biological difference here that leads to extra strength or whatever it might be, it becomes a matter where parents go, hang on a minute, I don't think that's on.
No, look, I think you're right, and I think it's going to be dealt with when it's presented as a problem in these codes. I don't think anyone's rushing to enact prospective rules around this. I think just like golf, you know, they'll let everyone play and it'll all be fine until it's not. And then that's unfortunate for this woman, I can't remember her name, Hailey, who's, you know, was going to play those 3 tournaments, but clearly, you know, she was going to dominate the league and had an unfair advantage.
What are you meant to do?
What are you meant to do?
Exactly.
Right. So obviously, at that point, that's when the governing body's going to step in and say, okay, here's what we've got to do.